Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. These are 4 principles that could absolutely change how you view, how you understand, and how you see the world around you. This is a book. It's called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This planet that we live in is a manifestation of what you hold in your mind, what you grasp as important, what you see in your mirror, so to say. And changing up those principal ideas that you've held for maybe a very long time are not always easy, but they're also not impossible. And following these 4 agreements are a way to wake yourself up, to come to the forefront, to recognize what it is you are doing and how you are doing it. I don't think that people understand. No, I don't. I know that people do not understand that this world could almost be perfect. And I don't mean in a sense of you having everything that you've ever wanted, close your eyes and pretend like you see it. That's important and it has its area. But what I mean is, if you as a human being truly recognized everything around you as products of what I hold inside of myself, and that your ability to change those products were very accessible, you'd do it. I believe that most people would. I mean, that makes sense. If you are suffering and you are in pain and life is hard, at some point, I know you've had to take that look into the great beyond and say, why? Why me? What did I do wrong? Like a lot of people do. I have had quite a bit of these moments in my life. And recognizing the moments are one thing. Being able to change how we feel, how we perceive these moments is life-changing. Absolutely. And there's no better book. I say it right now. There's no better book that is easy to read, that lays it out for you, puts it right there in front of your face. Let's go over some of the agreements. Let's start with being impeccable with your word. Being impeccable with your word. A simple way of saying that is mean what you say and say what you mean, right? But it's a lot deeper than that. If I came up onto this podcast and I said, I'm going to give everybody the most intelligent thing you've ever felt in your life. Now, some people might feel like that. I don't know. I don't know where you're at in your life. But I do feel that there's a level of deception in that statement, because we have no clue of what anybody else has going on around them, right? So I'm assuming and an assumption, and I'm putting out these words that hold weight. They hold weight, but the depth and the responsibility, there's nothing behind them. They're empty, like empty calories, right? It's like eating bread, going to some of these people that offer these things of wisdom that may possibly hold wisdom, but their words are not impeccable. They're not saying things with their entire soul. This is one I struggle with greatly. And I struggle with it greatly because I have a habit of feeling the moment and feeling the energy of people around me and trying to portray, I want to say manipulate, but put out a wavelength where we're on the same understanding and footing, right? Sometimes it's okay for you not to be on the same footing. You have to carry your energy. Your words are impeccable, meaning I'm giving the truth. I'm stating my absolute reality to you. And everything I say has meaning behind it. Very, very powerful statement. So that's number one. Okay. Number two, don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally. Wow. Could you imagine if everybody, let's just say everybody in your house, didn't take everything personally? How much different your day would look. Whether it's your wife or your child or your father, if he's living with you, or your mother, whoever it is, there's a processing that is done inside of your mind where you connect everything to being about you. You are the star of your show. So it's an understandable thought. It's another one that I suffer with myself. How do we get over that idea? You recognize it. You recognize your experience in that moment, your perception of reality in that moment. Am I taking this personal? If I hear something online about white people, or an Italian, or an Irish, because that's what I am, or an American, because I am all three of those things, should I take that and say they're speaking about me and my feelings are hurt? And now I carry that with my family in my everyday life. And it's just going to keep reflecting back and forth because of this moment that I could have said, oh, that's their opinion. God give them their opinion. Let them have it. That's okay. I'm not going to take it personal. It's such a lightning experience too. You just let go of the world's stress because it's not your job to hold it. So let it go. The world's stress is not yours to hold. And when you let it go, your life will dramatically feel better. Simple statements. The next one is do not make assumptions, which also kind of goes hand in hand with not taking anything personally, right? Assumptions are the root of all evil. Once I build an opinion of somebody and I hear the way they talk, every time they say something to me, I'm going to assume other things because of my conditioning, because of my programming. The way my computer, which is your brain, it's a computer, it runs on light and blood and electronic or electric connectors, correct? a lot like a computer. But the way your computer is programmed is to see the world around it, recognize the fear, recognize the possible danger, recognize the possible gain, the possible wants, the sexual things, this, and to evaluate what could happen afterwards. Why is that important? Number one, it's important. If we go back to like even caveman days, you put your hand in the bear's mouth, he bites it off. That's cause cause and reaction, right? The principle of I do it and it comes back to me right away. Okay. It was important for us to assume a lot of things in order to stay alive. And being that we've made it to 2023, with my genetic code, with my, DNA to this point, we've had to assume a lot. There's a lot of assumptions, but PTSD is linking a moment in time to a feeling, right? So every time you get reminded of that moment in time, you get to that feeling. And that feeling is boom, boom, boom. And sometimes people do not have good ways of dealing with that, and they can't get rid of it. And they just going through this perpetual cycle of seeing something, being triggered. The trigger brings them to a level of emotional energy, and that emotion is where we stay, which is not good for you, right? It's not good for you to be at a high level of stress or a high level of energy all day long. Now, if it's a good, positive, growing, happy, loving energy, that's a high level of energy, but it's positive, right? We are all built on frequencies. Your level of frequency is what connects you to other people. And the higher your level is, and the more you recognize your level of frequency, the more people will want to be around that or not be around that. And I want to put out a high level of frequency in life, okay? How can I start doing that? Let's start the very bottom of recognizing your frequency, your ability to be a better human being is to not assume. Very simple. Do not assume. Your assumptions are making your life horrible. Stop assuming. Start recognizing face value what the person's saying. So if you tell me you have a blue cat at home and I look at you, immediately I'm going to think this, all these levels of thought. But if I looked at you and said, oh, you have a blue cat at home? That's insane. It doesn't matter if I believe it or not, but I don't assume. I don't assume I already know. I don't assume somebody else already knows, because that causes a level of pain and frustration too. Our minds carry a certain amount of information throughout the day, and we have to discard what we view as unimportant and soak in what we view important, right? With the access of phones, our minds now are getting rid of these things that a year ago, 2 years, no, I would say 5 years ago, everybody had to know. Because if you didn't know it, you were going to be in trouble. But now you have a phone in your hand that can tell you the answer, tell you the directions, all these kinds of things. So, number one, base level, you want to raise your frequency to a higher level, to a good, loving, warm energy coming off people or want to be around you. start with stop assuming. That's number one. Last one of the 4 agreements is something very, very dear to me. It's always do your best. Always do your best. Wow. That seems basic, simple, but is it? Your best is decided by you. You know, inside of your heart, inside of your soul, inside of that feeling you have inside, that conscious understanding of who you are, you know what your best is. And when you're doing your best on something, you don't care what the result is. I mean, you care, but you're always going to be happy with the result because you did your best. You let it all out. You put all your energy out there into that moment. And when you give it all, when you let it all go into that, you can only look back and be grateful that you had that moment to give all of your energy, all of your best, Another recognition that I made, I played high school football. I would go to practice, and every single play, every single drill, every single lap that I took, I put in 100% of my energy into everything I did. There's very few things in life that you're able to do that. Just give your best, put it all out. So when you do have the opportunity, take it. But I had to take a moment of recognition that my best was not just playing football on the field and putting out all of my energy into the plays. My best was recognizing that, hey, I need to come before school starts and run some laps. I need to lift weights. I need to catch footballs after practice, because that is your best. And when you can look at yourself and recognize that you absolutely did your best, and that, here's a relative understanding of your best. Your best can always change. Your best in one moment is not your best the next moment, because the next moment you've gained, right? This moment you started here, you've gotten a little higher. So now your best should improve also. And that goes into everything. A lot of people want to say, I do my best with my children. I do my best with my homework. I do my best. But recognize what your best is. If your best is what you were doing last year, then that's not your best. That's a level that you feel is adequate enough that your energy doesn't swane. You don't have to put out a lot of mental pressure. It's not making you physically sore or tired. And that's not your best. Okay? So find your best. Let's repeat what all 4 of the agreements are. Be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean what you say. Don't take anything personally. Self-explanatory. If somebody says something to you and they're mad, they're mad. Don't take that as an attack. Take it as they felt the way and they said a thing. It doesn't have to attack and hurt you. Okay? There's a lot of that going on right now where everybody takes everything personal. Stop. This is how we dysfunction the world instead of improving it and making it better. Do not make assumptions. Do not believe somebody's not answering the phone because they're mad at you. Maybe they couldn't find their phone. There's billions, and maybe they are mad at you. But you assuming that that's why has already created this loop, this feedback loop of anger, assumption, anger, assumption, anger, assumption, anger. And then the reality is always something else. Always. Even if they're mad at you, they're not thinking you're this, this, and this, you know? So, yeah. This is David J. with Story Nexus. And I hope you get a chance to read this wonderful book, The Four Agreements. But if you don't, take these things that I'm talking about and maybe even one of them and try it. Just try it for the day, for an hour, for 10 minutes. And if your life doesn't feel better, try it for 10 more minutes, because I guarantee it will. Try another agreement. These are the basic understanding of how to improve and grow as a human being. Thank you so much for watching my video and subscribing to my channel. I cannot thank you enough, and I really hope these little moments that I have to talk to people become positive in your life. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. Thank you.